Hi guys, now we're going to talk about the core pricing for your revenue. The additional ones would be your expansion revenue, your professional services, etc. But at your core, you charge monthly and annual fees to customers, right? So how do you do that? Well, there's lots of different ways that people can charge in their business model. So to try and make this simple for everyone and make this model fit into everyone's business model, I've mapped out 3 different ways that you can do that. And these are your monthly fee, usage fee, and a monthly fee and a usage fee. Now, I'll break into these in a second so you understand how they work. But you are not going to use all 3 of them for the same package. Okay? For each package, you get to pick one. So for the basic, we pick monthly fee. You could say for premium, it's a usage fee, and for the pro, it's a monthly fee and a usage fee. We'll just set these at the monthly fee for now. But you can see all these formulas change depending on this drop down that you pick. And that's all you need to do to pick the package that you want. So let's say you're using the standard monthly fee. You can see here that's number 1 here for the basic, number 1 for the premium, and number 1 for your pro. So we would just pop this one open. And here are all the calculations you need for your standard monthly fee. And you can totally ignore package 2 and package 3. You don't need to touch them. So we would just pop these open for the premium, pop that open for the pro, and those are all the calculations. Now, if you want to switch that up and you want to be using, say, package 2, which is usage fee, you would open up the usage calculation, open up the usage calculation for the premium, close up the monthly one, and open up the usage fee for the pro one. And now you see all the assumptions that you need to have to be able to do those. Okay, why don't we just start out with the first package, which is the monthly fee. So we'll open this up for the basic. And what this just says is, how much do you charge per month? Are you charging $69? Are you charging more like buffer, like $5? So you just type in 5 and now that's your pricing. We are selling more expensive products, so we're now charging $69 a month. Now, we talked about our annual monthly calculations and that you can get your customers to pay up front and give you some great cash up front for a whole period of time. But in order to entice them, you need to give them a discount. So what is that incentive? All you need to do is type in here that number. We've put in 20%, but it could be 10%. Some SaaS companies don't have to offer that much of a discount to get people to pay up front. It could be even higher, say 30%. We'll just leave it at 20. So you can see here what this does. It says, what is the discount on the $69? And you times it by your contract length. This is a defined name, but it links to your annual counts here. This is your contract length, 12 months. You can see the name here. And that means that they're going to pay you $662 upfront for a year's service. Now, that is basically it in terms of pricing, but to make our expenses a little bit more fancy and show that there was thought into how we forecast them, we are going to calculate a part of your hosting costs. So what we assume here is that for your customers, they, through their use, are going to create COGS costs for you, hosting costs. But how can we do that? The assumption we've put in is what level of API or order type calls are they making as a proxy for your use. Now, we can have heavy, medium, and light types of customers. So you would say that on average, maybe a heavy user will use 3,000 API calls or have 3,000 orders per month. A medium will have 2,000, a light will be 1,000. And just type this in, you can change those assumptions. And what is the allocation between those types of customers? So you'll say 25% of all your customers are heavy, using 3,000 API calls, 25% are medium, and the remainder is 50% on light. So we'll say, well, we think we'll have more heavy customers, therefore it'll be 30%. Then we just use this thing called the sum product function, which just times this one by this one for each row. And that tells you the total average API order use that will happen. We link this into your COGS expense sheets under the hosting costs. We add up all of your API calls or orders, or you can change the name to a better proxy if you like, and that is used to calculate your hosting costs. So very simply, in order to set your monthly pricing for your business, all you do is you type in the monthly fee you're charging people, what the discount is that you're offering to people for upfront annual packages. And by the way, you don't need to offer annual upfront discounts if you don't want to, but it's really easy to do it in this model. And type in some sort of assumptions with regards to how much you think the usage will be for impacting your hosting costs. You can start out by just adding something or leaving what the numbers I have here, then going to your expense sheet and seeing what those numbers are. You can come back to here and fiddle around with those numbers to get to cost which sort of makes sense for you. Okay, this should be pretty simple, I hope. Now, to do this again for your premium, exactly the same. I've literally copied paste the formulas and changed the name. So what is your monthly fee? It's $99. And your pro one is $199. Again, we're offered the same discount of 20%, but we can change them again if we want. And for these, what are our API or order type usages? What is the allocation between these people to come up with your hosting costs? So this should all be really simple, and you can fill this in under 30 seconds once you understand how the model works. Now let's look at the second approach, which is a usage fee. This is probably good for business models such as Zapier, which just sells you API calls, right? So how would that work? We'll say, well, if we're using Zapier, we'll say some customers use it a lot, say 3,000 a month, 2,000 a month for medium, and 1,000 a month for light. 25% of our customers will be heavy users, 25% will medium, and half of people won't really use it very much, which means lower COGS for us. So we would then use that sum product function, multiply that up to get an average-ish sort of use. And now this is where we're getting to our calculations for how much you can charge people. So here, I've assumed that you're going to sell these up in blocks of APIs. So for every block that they use, they get charged a certain amount, which I've picked as $35 per block. And so we have to first calculate how many blocks do we think people will be using on average. So we've taken how many we think we're going to have for each package and got an average number. And so we'll say for every 700 API calls, they're going to pay us $35. And you may want to offer a certain amount of the block for free if you want, say one block, which would mean that 3 minus 1 would mean that the average charge or the average chargeable blocks will be around 2. Now, I've unrounded these numbers up here so you can see that the chargeable blocks here are actually 2.5. We'll give them one free, which means that they're effectively paying for 1.5 blocks. When you times that by 35, you get to $53. Now, if you want to increase these over time, or soon people start becoming, heavier users, you can make some assumptions around that. Let's say we'll end up getting to about 5,000, which, as you can see, the numbers start increasing because people become heavier users and they start buying more API calls. So that's the usage-based approach to your pricing model, if that fits you. But what if you have sort of a combination between these? Well, before we move on, you would just fill this in for your premium and your pro, assuming it's the same thing, and you're done. Getting on to the mixed version, we'll look at the monthly fee and usage fee. And if you're looking at this, it might look quite similar to what we've seen, because it is. So the two parts here is the monthly fee, and then we have the usage fee, which will get then added up at the end. So the first part will say, well, for our basic package, how much are they paying per month? Now, we think they're going to pay on average $50, say. And for the annual part, we'll give them a 20% discount. So 12 times 20% less 50 equals $480 that your annual customers will pay for 12 months. that's the monthly part. Now we have the usage part. Same thing, how much are people going to be using on general? What percentage of people will be doing it? And then we get to our average use. Now, what blocks of usage are you going to be charging it? We've assumed 700 here, which would mean that 1750 divided by 700 is around 3-ish, right? We'll give them one free block, which means they're effectively paying for around 1.5 to be exact. And we charge them $20 per block. So 1.5 times by 20 equals $30. And we're going to give, in this version, your annual customers a discount on the usage upfront. The assumption being that you're going to forecast sort of how much that they're going to use and charge them for that amount. So we would, for a monthly calculation, add up the basic plus the use. That will get you to your total monthly fee. For the annual, we'll take the annual portion plus the annual portion from usage, and that gets you to the annual portion. Now, the only real difference that we have with this is the monthly fee and usage we're taking as a total amount, as the same as the basic. It's just a monthly fee that we're charging up front. Whereas the usage one, purely usage, we're assuming is on a variable. And so there are no annual discounts for that. So in your annual and monthly revenue forecast sheets, if you use package 2, there is no annual discount for this. There are no annual calculations. So if you pick package 2 for Zapier for basic, premium, and pro, there's basically no use of the annual sheet. All the calculations will only happen in the monthly sheet. The package 3 of monthly fee and usage assumes that you are giving discounts to people, and that enables the calculations to actually work, because trying to run a model on both versions is actually incredibly difficult and would make probably another megabyte, 2 megabytes of formulas, which I don't think you want to look at, and neither the VCs do. So that's the basic assumption that is implicit by using option 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So to fill out, you would just click on option 3, fill in exactly the same assumptions that we did before, but with different pricing points. So for here, we're using $140, where we're charging the basic of $80 on the premium and $50 for the monthly. We're charging $20 for the monthly, the basic package, $20 for the premium, and $30 for our pro, which means that the total numbers are going to be different. So to switch again between, you just use the drop-down menu, pick which one you want, and all the numbers feed in. It's just that simple. So, I know me walking through this relatively fast is probably a little bit confusing, but it's actually very simple. Just which business model fits yours best, ungroup them, just by clicking, say if you want the standard monthly fee, 1, 2, 3, then you can fill in the assumptions and totally ignore all the other package options that you had. There's no other implication, they just feed through this model. If you want to get a little bit of a step-by-step explanation of what's happening here, check out the guide. But otherwise, I hope that's relatively simple. If this doesn't work for you, you're going to need to customize it. That's not that difficult if you just follow where the calculations happen. So we know that the monthly fee is being pulled up here and the annual fee is being pulled up here for this calculation. So if you want to start adding lines, just make sure that this and this would be the number that flows through the model. If you really need help, reach out to me and I'm happy to work with you on customizing your model for you. It's totally unrealistic to expect that any template will be able to do everything for you, but we've really tried our hardest to make sure that this sort of can.